will this let me record it? Yes, it will. Okay, cool. So recording the video, and it's really just going to be a screen share for everybody who's not able to make it, which is almost everybody except for Jordan. So Jordan, if you have any questions while we're doing this, definitely ask them. We'll touch on some of the ones that you already talked about a little bit earlier. So what I wanted to do was walk through the software that you'll use to get your training plan. The training plan is almost done. I have a few minor tweaks that I still need to make to it, so I didn't actually get it out to anybody just yet. As soon as I do, I'll email the group or I'll post in our Facebook group that, hey, you can go grab this. You'll basically go to Training Peaks, and that's the site that'll have that you want to create a free account for. It's just Training and Peaks, PEAKS.com. all together. Create a free account, and then when I send the email and I post it in the Facebook group on how to grab this plan, it'll be pretty simple. You'll just go into the Training Peaks store. You'll look for the plan description that I give you. You'll probably see that it costs something like $99 or something crazy, and then I'll give you a code to download it for free. That way, if any poor sucker actually downloads it and isn't part of this group, they'll actually have to pay me for it, which will be amazing as well. So once you do that and you create your free account, what I want to do is I just want to show you a little bit about what Training Peaks looks like. And I am sharing my screen, right?
No, I still see you, Ken.
You still see me. Okay. So why don't I push the button that says share screen? Okay. There we go. You got it?
Yep, it's good now.
Okay. Cool. So this is the app that's Training Peaks. Basically, when you log in, you're going to get a calendar that has today's date, and it will have any workouts that you have scheduled for yourself, or that if you're working with a coach. When I work with private clients individually, I set up their plans. So when they log in, they'll see all the workouts that I have lined up for them throughout their entire training period. You guys will also see that because you're going to have this plan that you get from the Training Peaks store that I've written, and you're going to apply that to your own calendars. So I'll give you simple instructions on how to do that. It's going to be very, very easy. For Training Peaks, I would say just download the free account. That's all you really need. And there are some limitations with the free account. Basically, you'll be able to log workouts that you've done in the past. You'll be able to log workouts for today, but you won't be able to edit workouts in the future. So once you apply the plan to your calendar, anything that you see in the future, you're not going to be able to go in and tweak or change. Or if you're planning on doing, you're going to do P90X, or you're going to do a leg day at the gym or something like that in the future, you won't be able to go in and actually schedule that if you have the free version. Now, if you have the paid version, you'll have access to all of those different features. You'll be able to make those changes. But if you're not really working with a coach and you don't know how to use the Training Peaks software to its fullest potential, it's kind of silly to pay for the plan. You don't really need it. Because you'll be able to, you'll even be able to talk to me, and I might be able to help you add some stuff if you want to get it on there in the future. But I would say stick with the free account for now. And if you have any questions on that, you can definitely let me know. You can give me a call. But basically, this is what it looks like. So today I had a run scheduled, and all it had was I'm going to scroll down here to one of the runs for next week, right? I have a run scheduled on the 21st. All it has is a run block right here. I don't have any details in there. That's exactly what I had on today's run. So I went out and I did today's run. I use a GPS watch. I use a Suunto Ambit. And then that Ambit automatically, when I come back to my computer, I plug it into the computer. It uploads to Suunto's site. If you use Garmin, it does the same thing. It'll upload your workout to Garmin's site. And then most of the sites will talk directly to Training Peaks now. So Moves Count automatically sends that workout into my Training Peaks calendar. Garmin does the same. A lot of the other apps, I think, also have built-in connections, MapMyFitness, and a lot of those that the people in this group are using. So what it does, I had this run scheduled here. Training Peaks automatically took that run that uploaded from my watch and it plugged it into the block that I had. So it has all my actuals here that I went ahead and recorded from the run. Now, when I put the plan out there for you guys and you actually apply it to your calendars, all of these run blocks, they're all going to have something in the planned column. So duration or distance or pace, whatever we're planning on being the goal for that day. When you actually go and do it, if you're using a watch or an iPhone to track the distances and the speeds that you're running, it will automatically populate in the completed column here. So that's kind of a nice feature. And then it will also create, there's a few different metrics down here. TSS is the training stress score. Basically tells you how hard the workout was. So if you did all you could do 100% in 1 hour, you would get a TSS of 100. So when I look at this, this is telling me I didn't go quite an hour. So I've got 50 points, and I definitely didn't go all out. Today's run on a scale of 1 to 10 was probably a 7 for me. So it's giving me about 52 points. That's not super important for you right now, but as this program continues, I'm going to show you how to use these scores to tweak your upcoming runs so that you know if you're overtrained, if you're undertrained. And if you're using a heart rate monitor, that gives you a little bit more of an accurate reading on this TSS score. If you just know or using speed and pace, it gives you a little less accurate, but it's still a pretty good predictor of how fast you're going to go. I did run with a bunch of people from work today. That's why this is showing the average pace is 9 minutes. I'm obviously much faster than that, but I had to make sure that I was keeping with the crew today. So. Just want to point that out. But this is basically what you'll get. Also in here, you can click on the map. You'll be able to see the actual route that you ran, where you ran. You get a lot of really advanced metrics down here too, as far as heart rate, speed, pace, all of that good stuff. There's a tab for heart rate zones. Where I was planning on talking a little bit about heart rate zones today. I might cover that if we have time, just very quickly. We'll probably do a webinar later on about finding your heart rate zones and what you want each zone to be. In the plan itself, a lot of these workouts you're going to see will say stay in zone 2. So, okay, what is zone 2? You'll know what your heart rate is for that. For me, it's 146 to 156 beats per minute. If I'm using my my heart rate monitor, I know if I'm in that zone. I'm interested to see. I just got an Apple Watch. My wife won't let me open it until Christmas, though. It has a built-in heart rate monitor, and I know a lot of people in this group are using devices that have built-in heart rate monitors on their wrists. So we'll hopefully be able to do a lot of great work with heart rate. So for me, I find that the heart rate monitor, I need to use it to limit myself. So if I know my zone 2 is 156, I almost always want to get out there and run faster and have my heart rate be a lot higher than that. But for training for a marathon and training for long distances, especially when we're doing our long distance days, you want to be in that zone 2. So I need to watch my heart rate monitor and actually slow myself down on a more regular basis. And you can see today, I was making a little bit of fun about going slower than normal, but the majority of my time was in these lower zones, which is where I need to be to build my aerobic base so that I can go further and have more endurance. And then we do speed work days where we're up in these high zones. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, don't worry. We're going to have much more detail on that later on. So next, let me just show you a little bit about what the plan looks like. So you can see when you log in and you get this plan applied to your calendar, you know what to expect and you know how to read what exactly is going to be in there. So I'm just going to launch this one. And so because I can't be with all of you guys individually, coaching you on form all the time, we'll definitely get together, try to do some group runs where we can talk a little bit about form, do a little bit of different things about form. But because we're not going to be interacting in person on a regular basis all of the time, I set this up to follow an online program that Chi Running put together. So Chi Running is the style of running that I'm certified to teach. It stresses energy efficiency and injury prevention, basically by getting your body moving in the manner it was designed to move. So it's kind of like a throwback to natural form of running. There's a lot of other forms of running out there, pose running, good form running, Chi running. They all share very similar principles, but they're all about kind of getting your body back to moving the way it was designed to move, with efficiency, preventing injury, staying aligned, all of that kind of stuff. So the program that I put together follows the Chi Running School. Chi Running School online is an online program, costs about $10 a month. So again, I want this group to be free. I'm not saying it's a requirement to do that, but I will say that it will help you with your form. And each of these weeks worth of training are going to focus on the lesson that you would get in the Chi Running School. So it's going to start on lesson 1, and basically what you do for Chi Running School is you sign up for it online. Just go to my website first, pittsburghrunner.com, and then click on the Chi Running link, or just hover over it, and then you can go down to Chi Running School, and that'll take you to the actual site where you can register. And when you register, what will happen is the following Saturday. So if you would register today, tomorrow, Friday, on Saturday, you would get your first lesson emailed to you. And that's going to be lesson number 1. And so everything that we do in, and we're going to start on this program on week 2. Don't worry, don't stress about that. Week 1 is just all fluff stuff anyway. We're actually going to start on week 2. But the workouts that you get in here on week 2, for instance, when you on Sunday, there's just a blank, there's no workout associated with this, but there are some notes in here. So in lesson 1 of the Chi Running School, you'll learn about body alignment. The focuses that you'll follow this week will help you understand what it feels like to keep your body in alignment while on one foot, right? So that tells you what the lesson is going to be about. You would get the lesson delivered to you by email, and the video is they're usually 8 to 10 minute videos that show how to get your posture aligned, how to get yourself in alignment, lean forward, engage gravity, all the different things you would learn if you went to a Chi Running workshop. And then there's also an audio companion that's about 5 to 10 minutes long, depending on the lesson, that you can take with you on your run, and it kind of reminds you of these form focuses that you should be thinking about as you're actually moving and actually going. So when you come into your workouts for the week, what you're going to do is each of these will be emailed to you on the day that you're supposed to do them, and they'll all have instructions in them. So when we talk about form intervals, that's basically saying you're going to get 2 to 3 focuses that you should think about as you're running that all relate to your form. So are you standing nice and tall? Is your shoulder over top of your hip, over top of your ankle? Is all of that in a straight line that you're leaning forward, or are you allowing yourself to hinge at the hip, right? When we talk about form intervals, then what you do is you go out and you might see a 1 minute interval, a 2 minute interval, a 3 minute interval. You just focus on that interval for that amount of time, 1 minute or 2 minutes. Okay, do I feel myself aligned as I'm running? And then you forget about it for a minute. Just kind of get into the natural flow of the run, and then come back to it again. Get yourself back into that mindset, thinking, okay, the form that I'm supposed to focus on today, can I feel that right now for the next minute? And the reason we do them as sort of these 1 minute on, 1 minute off kind of thing, what it ends up being is sort of a little bit like, and sometimes I get into hippy dippy stuff like meditation and all that, right? But it's kind of like meditation. So when you're doing a meditation, a lot of times, you kind of focus on something, or you don't focus on anything. But then your mind starts to wander a little bit, right? And it wanders a little bit more. And all of a sudden you think, shit, I'm supposed to be thinking about not thinking. And then, what you need to do is just need to settle the mind down again and come back to that focus of where you're at. And so the same idea is here with the running, right? You're focused on what this feels like. What does it feel like? What does it feel like? What does it feel like? And then you see like, oh, that's a pretty bird over there. Or, oh, look at that dog over there. Or, oh man, I'm on the North Shore Trail. There's a homeless man's tent. That's cool. And you totally lose focus. And so then you just, when that 1 minute comes back around, you set your watch to beep or whatever it is, kind of get back into the mindset of, okay, what was that form thing that I was focusing on? Oh yeah, this is what it's supposed to feel like when my foot hits the ground. Let me try to focus on that for the next minute. And so each of these little block workouts will have focuses for you to think about as you're going. So on Monday's workout, right, you'll see the focus is lifting from the crown of your head while feeling your foot land below you. Now, that probably doesn't make a ton of sense just reading that one sentence, but if you put it into context with the video that you watched earlier in the week from the Chi Running School, it would make a lot more sense. Also in here, is if you don't want to do the whole Chi Running School thing, but maybe you want to read a little bit more about these focuses. One, I'll definitely try to post a little bit more in the marathon training group on Facebook. Like, hey guys, you're going to see these are the focuses coming up this week, and this is what they mean. But if that's probably the least best way to get it. The best way to get it would, again, be just through watching the videos. But the second best way might be just picking up a copy of the Chi Running book. And you can grab that on Amazon. Amazon's the cheapest, right? I think I can sell them to you for $15, but honestly, you're going to get them cheaper on Amazon and probably faster because you can ship them to yourself if you have Prime. And who doesn't have Prime, right? So that would also help. And then again, you can always just grab me and say, hey, what is it? What does this mean? But you'll see as you go out throughout the week here, I've scheduled all different focuses that will relate back to that lesson. And then the next week, you'll start with a different lesson. So pretty simple. I think, right? Again, when you look on here, you'll see what I have planned. Usually in the header up here, 45 to 55-minute form intervals. So whatever you're feeling that day, if you go out for 45 minutes and you feel like crap, okay, keep the 45 minutes. If you feel really good, stretch it out to 55. In the duration of the actual planned work, it'll always be the lower of the two numbers. So that is just a little bit helpful to know. When I work with clients one-on-one, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll also have a planned TSS in there for them so that we can kind of map out what their recovery is going to look like before the race. I'll show you a little bit about that too before we wrap things up tonight. But for this group, because so many people are applying this plan to themselves, and I'm not going to have the ability to go in and individually edit each of your plans because I'm not your coach. I'm not going to put anything in that TSS column only because it would be different for everybody and it might throw people out of whack. Just a couple other things that you'll see in terms of the plan. I have this set up as 5 workouts per week, and that's a lot. If you do those 5 workouts per week, you are going to be ready to run the marathon or the half marathon like it's nothing, right? You will have no problem whatsoever. However, if you're like me and you have a lot of stuff going on, you'll probably miss workouts from time to time. 5 might be a lot to commit to. You might only be able to commit to 3 per week. You can definitely get by running a marathon on 3 workouts per week. But again, it's not ideal, but it can definitely be done. So let's talk about these workouts that you're going to get each week. They're going to be on the same days each week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, Sunday. If you have to miss a workout, the first one that you would want to miss is the Sunday workout. So you have your LSD or long, slow distance run on Saturdays. Your Sunday workout then is really just kind of a fun run. So you want to go at a slow pace. You're not going to have any formal focuses to concentrate on. It's just kind of like, hey, go out, clear your mind, clear your legs a little bit, stretch them out, or do a cross train. It's a good day to maybe jump on a bike. Good day to do any other type of cross training that you want to do. Just moving the legs a little bit, even if it's as simple as walking the dog, right? So that's workout number 1 to ditch. Workout number 2, if you have to ditch 2 workouts, you want to come into the week and find the ones that don't seem all that special, right? So right here in week 2, these are all the same. So I could ditch really almost any one of these, right? Now I would probably click on the one that I'm going to lose, see what the form focuses were, just make sure that maybe I'm trying to focus on those form focuses in another way, maybe on another workout. But you can ditch one of the ones during the week. As we get a little bit further into the plan, you're going to see they change a little bit. So they're not all kind of the same. So here's a good one, right? Like week 7 on Monday, I have a 40-minute run and a time trial. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means. And I'll give you actual instructions for what to do for a time trial in your workout. And then you can see Wednesday, Thursday, okay, they're just 45-minute runs. So I definitely want to make sure that I get that time trial in that week. And then one of these other kind of vanilla standard runs, I can ditch that. If you find a run, this week in week 8, I have 2 special runs. I have a hill run or hill repeats, and then I also have a tempo run. So if I need to ditch a run this week, I'm going to make it just kind of this standard plain run. I'll ditch that one. And if I can, if I also say, I need to ditch this one of these runs, I'm going to make it this Monday run, but I need to run on Monday because I'm busy on Wednesday. Don't sweat too much. Just take what you were going to do on Wednesday and do it on Monday instead. Not a big deal. Now, if you have the premium version of Training Peaks, you can actually drag that Wednesday run over to Monday. If you don't have the premium version, you're not going to be able to do that. You're just going to have to add, if it's Monday, you can add something for the day that you're on. Just add, okay, I did hill repeats, and delete this one that you didn't do. And then when it comes time, for Wednesday, just delete that workout so that you didn't do it. Hopefully that makes sense. You also see that, the long, slow distance runs increase week after week, about 1 mile per week. Sometimes you stay flat and then go up a couple miles the next week. Kind of just typical standard marathon training stuff. This plan that you're looking at right here is also the marathon version. There will be a half marathon version. So if some of these times and these numbers freak you out, don't worry about it. If you're planning to do the half, most of these will be significantly less, especially your long, slow distance days. Some of these midday weeks, we're still going to have you around 30 to 45 minutes for each run. The speed work that we do when we say, hey, go out and do 4 800-yard sprints or 800-meter sprints, those will be the same, but the long, slow distance will definitely be a lot less. So that's most of what you're doing on Training Peaks here. You'll also have you have a dashboard in Training Peaks, and this is Steve's dashboard. And his is not the best example to use right now. Let me pull up mine. So when we talk about that training stress score, it's going to be good. And this is a good reason to use heart rate because these numbers will be more accurate. Once you build up about 6 weeks worth of workouts, you'll be able to project pretty good what your performance management is going to be. And this is what I use when I'm coaching a lot of athletes privately to say, okay, we need to make sure that you're fully recovered for race day based on the workouts that I'm giving you and the intensities that I'm telling you to go and the heart rate zones I'm putting you in. How do we know if you're going to be fully tapered or fully recovered when it's time to actually race? Using that training stress score that gets assigned to each of your workouts automatically, this performance management chart gives you a whole bunch of different numbers. It gives you your acute training load. It gives you your chronic training load. So, how tired am I getting every single day? If I'm going out every single day and I'm running 5 miles all out, I'm never giving my body a chance to recover, I'm not going to be in a good place when it comes time to train. My chronic training load is going to start going high. The score here, that's the TSB, or the training stress balance, that's the one that I look at a lot. So what this is doing is this is factoring in the training load that you have, your intensity, your training stress scores, and it will actually project out where you're going to be 5, 7, 10 days from now. And if you can get this, ideally what you want to do is when it's time to race, you want this line to be above 0. And if this line is above 0, it tells you you're ready to go, you're good to go. You can see, back in early November in this time frame, I was doing a lot more training. I was doing a lot more running back then. I just had more time on my hands for whatever reason, and my TSB, or my training stress balance, was really dipping below 0 quite frequently. In September, it was way, way below. So that would not have been a good time to race. I probably would not have been in peak performance condition to actually race, because I was overtrained at that point. I wouldn't want to go into a race, say, at this point right here on September 26th, I would be, majorly fatigued. It would not be good. So one thing that you can do, not working with a coach who's going to be reading these numbers for you, but working with yourself, or even tapping me on the shoulder at some point and saying, hey, could you just take a look at this chart? I'll send you a screenshot. You can say, okay, we're about 3 weeks away from race day. What do I look like in terms of my training stress score, my training stress balance? Or if you start feeling really fatigued or really tired, you think, hey, am I overtraining? And is this really starting to suck? Why is that? You come in and you look at your performance management chart and see, oh yeah, I am way, way down. I need to taper off some of these workouts for the next week or so to allow myself to recover. That's something that you can definitely do. And if anybody ever feels like they're getting to that point, let me know. And I'm more than happy to just say, yeah, let me take a look at your chart. Let's see, should we put you on ice for the whole week and have you do nothing? Because the worst thing to do is just, have you go all out for 2 months and then you overdo it and you don't want to do anything else at all. So hopefully that makes sense. Went over a lot of information on using Training Peaks, the plan itself, and performance management here. Jordan, I think you're still the only one on the line. Did you have any questions with what I've covered so far?
I'm sure some will come up, but nothing's hitting me right now.
Okay, cool. So let's see. How long have we been going so far? Looking for a timer on the recording. Let me see. I don't have one, but I'm gonna try to keep it a little bit shorter, since it is a recording and other people are gonna listen to it and hopefully not drop off if we go on forever. A few things that I did want to touch on too was nutrition. So let me just really quickly touch on that. We'll do another webinar when we can get more people online to really dive into that a little bit. So nutrition is just a giant topic in general, and probably too much to cover in just a few minutes here. I will say, I always kind of recommend that. So just real quick, the best advice on food you can get is from that guy. I can't even remember his name. He wrote The Omnivore's Dilemma, right? And his basic premise was eat real food, right? So don't eat processed stuff. Make sure it's real food. Mostly plants. So try to get veggies into your diet a lot more. Fruits too. Vegetables for sure. Some fruits. And then his third point was and not too much, right? So when I'm eating mostly fruits and vegetables, I don't worry about the not too much part. But basically the idea is, like, you probably know what's crap food. Just try not to eat it. I stay away from most white grain, sugars and grains. I pretty much stay away from. If I am eating grains, I try to make them complex grains. So whole wheat, if I'm eating wheat, a lot of times I try to stay more away from gluten too. But not always. I don't have any problems with gluten. I just feel better, I think, when I don't eat it. So if I am going to eat a wheat, I try to keep it a whole grain wheat. I'll also, rice and gluten-free grains. I do a little bit more of quinoa from time to time. Really try to limit the sugars and definitely the added sugars. And the reason I'm bringing this up right now is because most people think I'm going to run a marathon, so I should eat pasta every single night for dinner. It's not a problem. And at the end of the day, I don't know how that advice really ever got started. It's not great advice. That's why you see a lot of ultra distance runners, Ironman athletes who are the age grouper athletes. They're not the elites, right? But they all look a little bit overweight, or they all have a little bit of a belly on them. They're not really fit and tone, and a lot of times they're a little bit slower too. And it's because they're when you go out and you do a long run, the carbohydrate that your body is using, right? You go up and you load up on all of these carbs, all week, and 10,000 calories worth of carbohydrates. Your body, when it needs carbs, it goes to glycogen that's basically stored in your liver, and it burns through that. And it burns through that pretty quickly. I think anywhere between like 20 minutes and an hour, all of your glycogen is gone. So then if you're doing ultra distance athlete, events, or you're doing even, a half marathon or a marathon where you're running for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, you don't want your body to be dependent on carbohydrates to fuel you. You want to start getting yourself to a point where your body can use your body fat as fuel. And you're not going to do that if you're always binging on carbohydrates and your body's used to going to those carbs. And when you're out on that long, long run, you've only got a certain amount of glycogen. Once you burn through that, then your body is going to other sources for the energy it needs. And if you're working at that lower energy zone, if you're in that zone 2, and we'll spend some time in an upcoming webinar on zone training. If you're in zone 2, your body's using all fat for energy. Then you get up into zone 3, zone 4, zone 5. That's when you go into that glycogen stores that you have, and you burn through it all right away. And then you've got to eat goos, and you've got to eat gummy bears, and you've got to drink Gatorade just to keep some carbohydrates in you. And realistically, you can probably only take about 300 to 400 calories worth of that stuff in per hour, but you're going to be burning, 800 to 1,000 calories per hour when you're out there on race day. So that's one of the reasons you don't want to overdo it on the carbs. And if you're eating a lot of carbs outside of training, or out, not talking just about carbs when you're in the goos when you're out on your runs, but if you're eating a lot of carbs just on a daily basis, then your body's never really thinking that it needs to kick into fat burning mode. So that's why, try to limit those. Plus the fact that carbs make you fat. Fat doesn't really make you fat. Carbs make you fat. So, and nobody wants to be fat. So that's kind of advice on basic nutrition. A lot of times I used to do a lot of green shakes, like kale shakes and all of that kind of stuff. But that's been kind of a pain in the ass, buying all that, mixing it all together. Now I just use, and then I get protein on top of that. Sometimes I get hemp protein. Sometimes I get whey protein. Now I just use Shakeology. It has everything in it that I think I want, or everything I was trying to get out of the kale and all the other superfoods that I was putting into my green smoothies, plus the protein. And then the other thing that I like in there is also there's a blend of adaptogens. And so I have always taken cordyceps mushrooms, cordyceps mushroom extract, which basically acts kind of like a legal form of EPO. It helps deliver blood to your blood cells to your muscles faster, so you don't burn as much. I wrote a whole blog post or two on it a few years ago, so I will try to find that and paste that with this presentation, so that you guys can check back on that. But it's called cordyceps mushroom extract. I was buying it from Onnit. Their version was called Shroom Tech. But the Shakeology has cordyceps in it, so I stopped buying that too. So that's what I do to kind of make sure I'm definitely getting a daily dose of, high nutrient dense nutrients or food. Trying to think of any other supplements that I take that I'm forgetting about. No, and when you're out there on your runs, I try to do real food now too. So I don't take goo with me anymore. I take those Justin's peanut butter packets. They work just as well. and my body's more used to moving on fat, so those work better. Again, we'll do a whole nother session on this, and we can get more people on the line to actually ask questions. It's kind of my very quick advice on nutrition. Basically, don't eat sugars and don't eat grains. There you go. Any questions on that, Jordan?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Shoes, we'll do a whole nother thing on shoes if you guys want. Ask questions about shoes on the Facebook page. Basically, good shoes are important, but they're no substitute for good form. The shoes that I'm running in right now, they're super flat. They're very minimal, and they have over 1,000 miles on them and 2.5 marathons, I think, on them. So you'll hear people tell you all the time you need to change your shoes every 300 miles. Some shoes you probably do, but if your form is good and you're able to run with a minimalist shoe, you can definitely get by on that. So just always, when you go to the shoe store, they'll throw you on a treadmill. They'll try to sell you the most expensive pair of shoes that they have. I hate spending money on shoes. So we'll do a whole thing on them. But if you can get your form down, you can move more toward a minimal shoe, and then you don't have to be as concerned that, oh, this shoe is helping me correct my pronation or my supination, or this shoe is important. It has a whole bunch of padding on the heel because I'm a huge heel striker. Well, I don't want you to be a heel striker. So I want you to get into a shoe that's going to help you learn to not be a heel striker. So nutrition, shoes, anything else?
Well, did you want to say a thing or two about mixing other kind of workout regimes in?
Yes. Yeah, so other type of workout routines, I will definitely be doing some strength training during this myself, because I'm going to Hawaii in February, and I can't be looking like a skinny marathoner. It just won't be good. So I'm gonna try to work in most of the workouts that I do. I'll probably try to do some type of strength training 4 days a week. I'll probably keep that to a half-hour workout on each of those days, and I'll probably try to do things that that are. I do a lot of stuff with Beachbody. So like way back in the day, I did P90X, and I really, really liked that. And that I was doing that while I was training for Ironman. I just recently did some of P90X3. I liked that a lot too because they're quick, simple 30-minute workouts. I'll probably incorporate some of that eventually. And then they have a new program out now called Hammer and Chisel, which I'm doing. They have you set up on a 6-day-a-week schedule. I'm only going to do 4 days a week on that. But basically, you're not looking to do a ton of super, super heavy weights. But your things like your push-ups, your pull-ups, all of that kind of stuff that gives you functional strength, kettlebell swings. That's the type of stuff that you're going to be looking to do. A lot of people say, should I do a leg day? Do I have to do a leg day? Most people think they don't have to. I would say yes, definitely do a leg day. The more you can strengthen the muscles in your legs to keep you moving on race day, the better off you're going to be. Now, you reduce the need for some of that when your form's good. When you have good form, again, you get your body in alignment, and when you're in alignment, you're really having your structure, your bones, and your joints supporting your body weight versus having your muscles having to hold up your body weight. So you don't put as much strain on the muscles, but you definitely want to have a little bit of muscle built up. So again, when you're doing leg day, I always I like to do squats just because I like squats. You don't have to do squats. You can do a lot more of kind of the functional plyometric jumping type stuff. Maybe I'll put together just a real quick leg day sample for the group. That you can all see what that looks like, and we can do something like that. Pistol squats are good, all kinds of fun stuff like that. Calf, your calf raises that kind of stuff you'd want to get in there. I've never been a huge fan necessarily of the leg press per se, but if it's your thing, work it in, but focus more on kind of the functional stuff where you're moving around a little bit more, and that's the kind of stuff that you want to do. So Jordan, in the computer lab, when we do Insanity, some of that stuff will be good too. Maybe we'll do a P90X day, leg day in there too, because most of that is just jumping.
Yeah, no, I'm in.
Cool. But yeah, in terms of other stuff, like I said too, I don't want you spending 20 minutes in the gym focused on trying to maximize your bench press while you're training for this, right? That's not the best use of your time. Spend, 8 to 10 minutes if you're wanting to do your bench. Okay, awesome. Go ahead. 8 minutes on bench, another 5 minutes on chest flies or something like that, and then move on to your next body part. So just enough to get you a little bit of definition, but this is not the time that you're going to be adding 50 pounds to your max bench press. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Anything else?
I don't have anything else right now.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you for joining. Super disappointed in everybody else. But
thanks a lot for
if everybody else actually listened to the whole webinar all the way to the point where they heard me say I'm super disappointed in them, then I won't be super disappointed. So let me know you heard me say that, and there might be a prize in it for you.
Back in good graces.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Ken. This was really helpful, I thought.
Cool. Yeah. I really just wanted to kind of introduce you to Training Peaks and all that. Again, I'll send out the email, but you don't have to wait to sign up for your Training Peaks account. If you want to go do it now for free, have at it.
It's also possible to sign up for the actual marathon too at this point, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You guys should probably do that.
Yeah. And I think that it's already increased in price twice. So,
Seriously?
I think so. You can also consider running for a charity. I'm running for Animal Rescue League. You got to raise $500 for that. Leukemia Lymphoma Society, my one friend's running for. I think that's only $300. And Confluence will write you a nice check to cover a good portion of that. So
okay.
That's always an option.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, either way, just register. You should register by the end of the week just so you're committed.
Right.
Cool. All right.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
Yeah. Tomorrow, feel free to ask me to add you to more projects that don't exist.
Whereas, I don't know. Brian's telling me to do stuff, and it comes back, oh, wait, I haven't made him yet.
All right. I'm going to go watch the debate.
All right, sounds good. Same. See ya.